So what I'm trying to say here is that these Tissot Gentleman watches are so close to being perfect, but welcome back to the Chisholm Hunter channel. My name is Harrison, and today we have the Tissot Gentleman range, or three specific models. We have the green dial, the blue dial, and also the black dial. And these watches are so close to being perfect. Let's begin with the movement, because to me, this is probably the best movement you can get for the price. It's the Powermatic 80.811. This is an automatic movement with 25 joules, a silicone balance spring, and 80 hours of power. I'm gonna, 2 secs through it. 80 hours of power. Now, to find a movement that has 80 hours of power reserve and a silicone balance spring for round about £675 is pretty rare. That is an incredible deal. That is good value for money. And let me go into what the silicone balance spring actually does. It resists magnetic fields. So, you know when you go through airport security and you look at your watch and it's no longer working, that's because it's magnetized. But with this silicone balance spring, it has resistance to that. So on a side note, you might be wondering why I don't have a coffee today and why I only have these little biscuits. And basically it's because I've drank like 3 coffees today and I can't stomach anymore. But what I can stomach is these little Biscoff biscuits. They're incredible. So we have covered a little bit about the movement and had a biscuit while we have done that, but let's go into the specs and the measurements. It comes in at 40 millimeters in diameter and 11.5 millimeters in thickness. Its lugs come in at 21 millimeters and it has domed sapphire crystal glass with anti-reflective coating. So again, at this price, getting anti-reflective coating, sapphire crystal glass, 80 hours of power. I mean, it's looking pretty good. The case is made from 316 stainless steel, and you can really feel this when you pick it up. It feels sturdy, it feels classy, it feels quality. And then if you flip this round to the case back, it actually has an open case back so that you can see into that movement. And for those of you that know me and watch the channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of this. And let's compare it to other luxury watches in the industry. You can sometimes pay upwards of 10 grand for a watch and it doesn't have that open case back. If you want to see that open case back in person, you know where this is going. You can see it on Chisholm Hunter's website, where we're actually official stockist of Tissot watches. Check it out on chisholmhunter.co.uk. That's chisholmhunter.co.uk. Moving quickly on to the dial and the detail on that dial. It has highly polished indices and also the second hand, minute hand, and hour hand. They are all filled with superluminova, that's the indices included, so that you can see in the dark, of course. The charcoal grey version and the green version that I have in my hand actually have a line running down the middle and a line running across. Almost looks like a plus sign, apart from it's cut off where the text is. Aesthetically, this is really, really cool. I really like this design. This is the newer models. Now, the blue, black, and the silver variations, I know Drew's personal favorite is the silver, don't actually have this kind of plus design. They opt for a cleaner dial, shall we say. But here's the thing, if you want the plus design, you only have the green and the charcoal grey to pick between. Whereas if you want the blue or the black or the silver, you don't have the option of that plus. So what I would love to see is the plus options on the other colors. A little more detail on the dial. The date window is positioned at 3 o'clock in all of these variants. And also it has the Powermatic 80 symbol on the bottom of the dial beside, just above the 6 o'clock. And then obviously Tissot 1853. It's really clean. I really, really like it personally. But I mean, there's one thing I'd maybe change. Go on. Before I go on to that tiny little detail that I would maybe change, I'm going to talk about the general aesthetics of this watch. So it switches between brushed and polished metal. You can see the polished metal running down the center of the strap here and the polished on the bezel. How do I feel about this watch and which one of these would I actually choose? To me, I would have to go with the green dial. And I know what you're gonna say, but Harrison, you normally go with neutral colors. And I do go with neutral colors. I normally go with the blacks or the whites, but for some reason, this really suits the green dial. It still looks clean. To add to that, the highly polished indices and the hands play wonderfully against that green dial. And also it has that plus design, which gives it that little bit of depth. And it has the Powermatic 80 movement. But the one thing that I would change, and this is just me being picky, this is me being a photographer, is I would move the date window from 3 to 6 o'clock. Now, I've said this in the channel a couple of times, but I just prefer the date window at 6 o'clock. It adds more symmetry to me. So, it's so close to being perfect. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to join the Chisholm Hunter Watch Club, make sure you subscribe here. If you want to see the Tissot PRX model, make sure you hit here. And if you want to see the watch vlog, where we take some pretty incredible watches to pretty amazing locations, make sure you click here.